I've been around the industry for nearly 40 years. And I've kind of come up with some solutions, I hope, that we can use going forward to make the hazardous material and the removal of asbestos a lot safer in the future. So what I've created is a little story here about how I got to where I am. I am the inventor and the patent holder of Capture, and I just want to introduce what we've done so far. So we are the Soteria Group. We're based in Florida, okay? And I started the company about 3 years ago. It's a sister company of a company called Ceres Environmental. We're one of the largest in the US for disaster response. We go all over the world. Right now we worked in the wildfires in the west coast of California. We're in any earthquake zones. We were in Christchurch, etc. So as you can see, I have a lot of experience when it comes to demolition dust, asbestos, hazardous removal. So I've been in the demolition business for so long that I learned, and I've had a lot of colleagues that have actually contracted mesothelioma, and I wanted to be able to make a difference. So I started to think about how can I do that. So what we did is we came up with technology that makes things safer when you dismantle them. And normally, say in an earthquake zone, or like in Hurricanes Irma and Maria, things you don't think about that release particles into the air, which create the problems for health issues across the world. And this was down here in St. Croix, beautiful little place. I was down there, and we had 600 of these yachts washed up everywhere. And they didn't know what to do. Fiberglass, everything in it. So what we did is I came up with a technology to go ahead and use a foam-based system to put through the crushers to be able to crush this material safely to encapsulate just the fiberglass dust. It was the start of something that I thought, would that work on any other particulate matter? Now, what gave me the idea was, in the scrap metal business, in the demolition business, we use magnets. I thought, how can we make a natural magnet in an application to get the particulates into a safe mode? So what I did is I came up with a foam-based delivery system called Capture. And what this is it's based on the foam is delivered, and what it is, it creates a charge from a ionic surfactant. And what that does is it actually traps the positively charged fibers from asbestos, and it holds it in there tight. And I thought, that'll work. We'll also do it on a bitumen remover for the floor because of grinding. So we came up to the brand of revolutionary products. Foam wetting agents, long-lasting effects, SuperTech Tracer. Now, what's a SuperTech Tracer, I say? Well, I'm not going to give too much away, but we're the first in the world to incorporate a tracer into an asbestos removal product. I have 2 patents on this. And later on, you're going to listen to my colleague, Phil Cleary here from Smart Water, who we've teamed up and created an electronic taggant within the mixture. And again, I'll let him speak. I don't want to steal your thunder there, Phil. Thank you. Now, what makes Capture technology revolutionary? Well, what it is this polyhedral honeycomb, groundbreaking registered application. Zwitterionic, that's a hard word to say, but it creates the negative charge or the positive charge that we need for that hazardous material to be attracted. It works on silica, fiberglass, asbestos, anything that you can think of that has a polarity. What I did is I applied, can you go back just one more? I applied the weir feeling structure. I don't know if there's any chemists here, but I'm not a chemist. I've got a great team of people that are chemists. And we came up with a weir feeling structure. It's a perfectly designed hexagon sphere. That is the polyhedral honeycomb. And it's just actually a little bit better than that. But what it does is it creates a perfect object to be able to encapsulate the particulate matter. And what it does is it draws it in magnetically and holds it in place. It's completely new science. Now, what makes it electrically charged? Well, zwitteronics. And zwitteronics, I won't go. Oh, I'm sorry. I get excited. I live this, so I'm sorry. So zwitteronics and zwitterionics are a process of surfactants, again, that create a positive or a negative charge that we can actually manipulate in the manufacture process. Again, I won't bore you with all the science, but again, I'd like to explain a little bit about that. So, Okay, what is a polyhedral honeycomb foam? Well, I wasn't around then. I know Phil probably was. In 1887, Lord Kelvin, he came up with this idea, what would be the most efficient bubble foam? Now, what he was thinking, I don't know. What he was on or what he was drinking, I don't know. But he came up with this idea, and he proposed a foam, and he actually came up with the polyhedral honeycomb, which is excellent, and it keeps its consistency all the time. When I looked further, I found a better compound. And the next one is the weir-Phelan structure. Now, the weir-Phelan structure is almost perfect for what we do. It holds together, and what it does is it entraps those particles right into that sphere or into that polyhedral structure, and it'll sit there and it will not come out. Bearing in mind that in this technology, you have that tracer in there that never goes away. So we track that from the minute it's been made in the factory all the way to where the hazardous material is actually dumped. So that leads me on to the next thing. What would that do? That stops fly tipping. It stops illegal dumping. This is the application of, it takes 43 seconds to do a room that size. Thank you, Rob, for this. As you can see, it's so simple to put on, and we can change the viscosity, and it stays on there for 15 minutes and scrapes straight off, fully encapsulated. How does it work? Well, most people think we're going to treat silica or we're going to treat asbestos dust fibers with water. Well, water doesn't work. First of all, it evaporates. Second of all, it has large droplets. So all the dust particles are swept off, and they just go straight over. So not only is it only capturing probably 1%, but the 1% is then evaporated and it's released again. Our dust particles join the water droplets of a similar size. And then what it does is the ionic procedure pulls it into the small droplet, into the honeycomb foam, and it stays there. And it stays there forever. Okay. Right. Again, what's the difference between plain water? Well, as you can see, it's low surface tension, minute droplets, same size of particles. Curved surfaces between the foam molecules. Again, it's science at its best. And we designed this with a big team of chemists across the US and proudly from the UK too, and Europe. And so we've pulled a complete international team together. Okay, what is the typical fibre suppressant? Well, you've all heard of soapy water. This is soapy water right here. It has been used in the market before. It has no bearing onto the product that we produce. Capture Pure. Smart water, again, you'll see that presentation, it's really exciting. And then a polymer reinforcement. Again, I'll skip through these slides because normally we do this together, Phil. So go ahead, just go to the next one. I'll give you a taste of what's coming. We also have a tracking app that we've developed. Again, I will let Phil discuss that in his presentation. So again, we'll skip that one. Oh, go back one. There you go. This is a really important, just a quick clip of an ITV newsreel. This is what we can stop. If you could just hit that for me. Thank you. There you go. Now it will.
Yet more shameful dumping of commercial waste.
This is the terrible state of fly tipping.
As you see, I'm talking over it a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward to see. This happens everywhere across the world, and it's another killer for us, fly tipping, because somebody has to go and clean it up. There are people that find it, that are exposed to these hazards and to the asbestos fibers out there, or whatever's in there. See, those people are not wearing masks. They don't know what's in there. Our product would not only encapsulate that if it was legally taken out of a site, it would have a trace mark on it that we could find out exactly who did that, all the way back through to the process of who took it out and where it came from. Again, Phil's going to explain a little bit about that. So if you'd like to move on, but that's what happens right there with something that we can stop. We have 3 products on the market right now. Capture Pure, which is a foam-based delivery system, which we can use as that foam base can be used for any kind of application in any kind of setting for any kind of particulate matter. We have capture dissolve. That breaks down oxidized and non-oxidized bitumen adhesive. And all these are low VOCs for the one in the middle and no VOCs for Capture Pure. And what we've done is created a green certified label for these products. So they are biodegradable. Capture Clean, it's not on the market yet, but it will be used as a cleaning agent if we need to for Pure or Dissolve, afterwards for a secondary clean if you need to go through and just make it shiny or look nice. That's about it, really. It still encapsulates, but it goes back and it buffs up. You know, say if you have a stain or something like that, you can clean with that. So again, this is how it comes. It comes in a non-diluted form. And then what they do is it goes through one of our specialized certified machines, foam and application machine, which we have outside. And they're all certified, they're all marked, and they cannot be replicated, and they cannot be copied. Thank you. Again, Capture Dissolve, Capture Clean. Okay, so comparison between current methods. Well, we got an increase in safety of 99% because right now, grinding is probably one of the most used methods, whether it be on ceilings, whether it be on walls, etc. So we have that increase in safety, and we also have less vibratory injuries because there are no grinders involved. 90% reduction in water used because we use the surfactants, we make water wetter, we use like 10% of the water that normally people would use in the process. 99% reduction in electricity. We don't have a grinder working and releasing fibres. This is all done, either you can do it by a hand pump or you can do it by a compressor, and simply reduction in electricity, so 99%. Reduction in waste generated. Our waste, because we are so precise in what we entrap, it actually, the volume is actually compressed to 50%. 50% reduction in project costs. It's quicker. We can now do an area in 43 seconds where it takes normally a day for 2 people to do. You don't need scaffolding, you don't need a paint roller, you don't need a machine, you don't need anything. You just go in there and you spray it, and then it seals everything and it comes off. You put it into the absorbent and it's done. Then we have an 80% reduction in labor cost. 80%, you say, that's a big saving. Well, it doesn't need anybody, it works itself. You spray it on, you let it work. You paint it on, you put the dissolve on the floor. If this was bitumastic adhesive, put it on the floor, leave it. You can do 2 or 3 rooms at the same time. Okay. Well, that's it. I kind of rushed through that, but I wanted to, it's an exciting thing, and I live everything to try and make it safer around the demolition world and the and the fly tipping, because I've experienced it and I have friends that I've lost and I have friends with the disease. So that's why I'm passionate about this. So thank you very much. Thank you.